That means also it defines the actuator type. So we are talking about multi-turn actuators, part-turn actuators, and linear actuators, depending of what type of valve is used. So for example, a multi-turn actuator is used on a gate valve, a globe valve, or a multiport valve. A quarter-turn actuator is used for a ball valve, a butterfly valve, or a plug valve. And a linear actuator is used on a gate valve, a globe valve, or a check valve. What is a fail-safe actuator? What tells the name? It's basically responsible to safely close or open a valve in case of emergency. So it needs to fail to go to a safe position. So that means we are talking about a safe system. So it's a pure mechanical spring system. We are using an intelligent electric actuator on top that brings the high availability to the system, and the spring is really independent from the actuator. The safety function is always armed, so that's quite important, so there is no need for any initialization phase. Why do we need fail-safe actuators? Quite important topic. It's clear we need fail-safe actuators to protect human life, but also to protect the machinery and the equipment. What kind of different fail-safe actuators are available on the market? Of course, there are purely electric fail-safe actuators available. So that means electric actuator with a battery pack. There are pneumatic actuators as a fail-safe actuator available, but also hydraulic actuators. We as a company, we Schiebel, we manufacture just purely electromechanical systems. So that means we are using an electric actuator, and on top of that, to come over the safety function, we are using just a pure mechanical spring. Talking about health monitoring means also we need to talk, of course, about the different maintenance concepts and the costs involved into that. So the different concepts on the maintenance approach are displayed here. So of course there's always a possibility to use a reactive maintenance approach, a preventive maintenance approach, but also a predictive maintenance approach. As you can see here also on the diagram, there are different costs, of course, involved into that. So the reactive maintenance approach is also quite costly. Why? Because typically you are not doing a maintenance on an actuator before it fails. So that means the cost for repair are pretty high, but the cost for, let's say, the cost for the preventive actions are pretty low. While if we are talking about preventive maintenance, also the total costs are pretty high, but here it's a little bit different. The costs are high because you're doing continuously maintenance, so the preventive costs are pretty high, but what costs are pretty low is of course the repair costs, because you are anyway doing regularly a maintenance approach. But where we do see the future on actuation technologies is of course on the predictive maintenance approach. Why? Because you want to predict basically when an actuator or an equipment will fail, and that will help you of course to bring the cost down. What we do for reactive maintenance approach, basically we have on our actuator a so-called actuator cockpit, where you're able to see what's going on the actuator. So if an actuator fails, that's the reactive maintenance approach. You want to know what's going on, what failed in the unit in order to be replaced. And that's done via an actuator cockpit, or second possibility, we are using so-called black box file on our actuators. So that means it works like in an airplane. You just get the black box file and you know basically on the actuator what failed, and it's easy then to be replaced. Time is money today, therefore it's extremely important to have something solved very quickly. The second approach is the preventive maintenance approach. So it's about health monitoring, lifetime monitor. So we have on our actuator a health monitoring system, a lifetime monitor, which tells you basically on how long the actuator has been used and how the actuator has been used. That helps you, of course, to plan your maintenance cycles, and that helps you in the end also to get the cost down. How do we see the digital future? Of course, the digital future is about predictive maintenance for actuators, as I told before. So how predictive maintenance on actuators are working. So the general approach, the general stuff is you have an actuator, you do health prediction, and basically what's coming out of that is a remaining useful life. And how this is working is displayed here now in the general approach for the prognostics, so for the remaining useful life. So basically you are in the need for a condition monitoring, you are of course in the need for health indicator construction, the degradation, which is the detection of the health indication, and then the outcome is of course the remaining useful life. Just a brief overview of what is meant by condition monitoring. Condition monitoring means that you acquire in the actuator different values, different conditions. So in our case, that's of course, we are acquiring data like the vibrations, the temperatures inside the actuator, but also ambient temperature, ambient pressure, which has an impact, of course, on the actuator behavior. And we are also acquiring data of the valve and the actuator itself. So what is the power consumption, what is the voltage level supplied to the actuator, but also what is the requirement from the valve, so what is the required torque of the valve. How does it look like in the actuator if we display those kind of values? So for example, the data acquisition and statistics. So that's how it looks like on the actuator if you display different statistics like the torque values, but also different events are displayed like this on the display of the actuator. What is meant by health indicator construction? Of course, in general, you have just a raw signal which is acquired by the actuator, and how it's done basically, you just isolate single turns or single events of the raw signals, and then you're just getting those values and try to find out what is a good event and what is a bad event. So that means good means you have an event which has no impact to the failure of the actuator. A bad event is that has an impact to the actuator which could potentially help the actuator to fail. You are extracting that, making a mechanical model out of that, and then basically you are training the actuator through a machine learning process what is a bad event and what is a good event. And out of that, you are then getting a health indicator. What's in general then the outcome of this whole approach is the remaining useful life. That's really an example displayed here, the remaining useful life on an actuator used basically different health indicators, like in this case it was the vibration is used as a health indicator, the torque is of course used as a health indicator, but also what is used as a health indicator is the motor temperature and the oil condition. So also we are talking about electric actuators, which of course consisting of mechanical components. So the oil consistency, the oil is in general a health indicator depending on the mechanical influence. You're getting in the end a health score. The health score of course will help you to get an information on the remaining useful life, and you can then decide, you can predict of course with the health score what is the worst case and what is the best case and what is the average case. Why do we need that? In general, you are able then to decide where to set your threshold for maintenance purposes. So that means you can define your threshold, and then the actuator can give you an information the threshold is reached and you want to go for a maintenance activity. Where do we use machine learning? Of course, just as a summary, of course, to eliminate potential failures during installation. So it helps you to identify, of course, the risk of different parameter settings, the identification and prediction of failures. So learn, of course, from previous events to be able to predict the failures, and the interactive remaining useful life. So if the conditions are changing, process conditions or boundary conditions, you want to know how is the impact on the remaining useful life. The last thing I want to say, of course, is actuators think further. So that means the actuator could potentially help you not only on the actuator itself to plan the maintenance approach much better, but it helps you for the whole assembly, which is of course a valve together with an actuator, probably also additional sensors used directly on a pipeline. I would like to thank you very much for your attention. You can find, of course, more information on our events. We are present on our website, and looking forward on getting more comments from you on how you liked it.
Halo, selamat siang semuanya. Kami di sini dari PT Gamatek atau kita singkatan dari Gaya Makmur Tekno Nusantara ingin sedikit mempresentasikan sedikit mengenai perusahaan kami. Dengan saya sendiri dengan Notri, lalu rekan saya dengan Pak Anas.
Ya, siap Pak Notri.
Iya, jadi kita langsung aja ya Bang ya. Kita
siap.
perkenalkan diri perusahaan kita.
Oke.
Gaya Makmur Tekno Nusantara merupakan bagian dari Gaya Makmur Group. Kita berdiri 2014 di Cengkareng, Jakarta Barat. Perusahaan kita merupakan salah satu bagian dari Gaya Makmur yang di mana Gaya Makmur ini bergerak di bidang alat berat, Bang.
Alat berat ya.
Juga ada truk untuk yang biasanya di pertambangan ya.
Oke.
Kalau di kita sendiri Gamatek merupakan perusahaan yang bergerak di bidang power system.
Oke.
Khususnya di bidang genset juga ada engine power yang biasa untuk digunakan di pompa ya Bang ya.
Oke, Pak Notri.
Lanjut Bang.
Gaya Makmur Tekno Nusantara sendiri mempunyai visi dan misi, yaitu menjadi perusahaan yang lebih handal dalam segi pelayanan dan pengadaan unit.
Yeah.
Terus juga memiliki hubungan yang baik dengan pelanggan dan customer kita, sehingga memberikan pelayanan yang memuaskan ke customer. Sedangkan visi dari PT Gamatek sendiri adalah memberikan solusi dan pelayanan yang terbaik untuk kebutuhan pelanggan, merespon semua keluhan pelanggan, dan melakukan perbaikan secepatnya.
Oke. Jadi kita Gamatek juga udah terdaftar resmi ya Bang ya.
Oke.
Di Deperindak kita ya.
Sudah terdaftar ya Pak Notri ya resmi
jadi
ya.
tercatat
Bisa dilihat
kita,
ya.
merek kita yaitu kita bawa RCG Power, merupakan pabrikasi dari Tiongkok sana ya Bang ya.
Untuk produk sendiri ya Pak Notri dan rekan-rekan sekalian pengunjung pameran, di Gamatek sendiri mempunyai dua produk yaitu diesel engine water pump dan generator set atau genset. Untuk diesel engine water pump sendiri kita mempunyai 2 brand yaitu DCEC dan Faude dengan range kapasitas yaitu 33 kW sampai dengan 250 kW. Sedangkan untuk genset kita mempunyai brand engine seperti Perkin, Kamin, Mitsubishi, SJC, ada Faude dan banyak lainnya Pak Notri.
Iya Pak.
Dengan kapasitas itu dari 9 sampai 3.000 kVA.
Ya. Seperti ini di gambar ini ya Bang ya.
Iya.
Genset kita engine secara merek ada RCG Power yang didukung oleh pabrikan mesin seperti Perkins, Cummins, Mitsubishi, SDC atau Faude. Dan itu seperti yang tadi Abang Anas bilang kan, kita bisa supply dari 9 kVA sampai 3.000 kVA. Juga kita bisa supply gensetnya itu dalam rating prime, standby ataupun continuous, juga tipenya silent atau open type.
Oke, siap.
Kayak yang di gambar ini Bang, ini open type ya Bang ya. Ini lagi tes di pabrik sana di China. Kita sama customer kunjungan FAT di pabrik selama kurang lebih seminggu ini. Karena ada 5 unit genset besar ini yang kita tes di sana ini Bang.
Mungkin ada yang bertanya nih Pak Notri, tadi saya lihat ada tipe silent atau open. Mungkin ada rekan-rekan sekalian yang kurang paham, bisa dijelaskan nggak Pak Notri?
Oh ya, kalau kayak silent type itu sendiri genset yang tertutup ya Bang ya. Ada casingnya, entah dari plat kotak biasa gitu ataupun kontainer ya. Kalau open type seperti yang digambar ini terbuka, dia nggak ada casingnya, jadi langsung aja tuh mesin, alternator, radiator semua kebuka, kelihat deh. Itu Bang.
Dan ini salah satu produk dari Gamatech juga Pak Notri, yaitu diesel engine water pump.
Iya Bang.
Dengan merek atau brand DCEC dan Faude. Dengan range kapasitas 33 kW sampai dengan 250 kW dengan 4 dan 6 silinder. Biasanya diaplikasikan untuk fire pump nih Pak Notri. Jadi fokusnya kita jual ke perusahaan-perusahaan pompa seperti Torishima, Ebara, Willow dan lain-lain. Fungsinya sih lebih ke mesin untuk pemadam kebakaran atau engine fire pump Pak Notri.
Kalau engine-nya ini cuma diesel aja Bang, nggak ada bensin Bang?
Atau kita hanya pakai diesel Pak Notri.
Diesel ya?
Diesel dan bahan bakar solar ya Pak Notri.
Solar aja bisa ya Bang ya, hidup ya?
Ini salah satu divisi kita, yaitu after sales nih Pak Notri. Melayani servis, kita juga melayani servis dan maintenance untuk generator dan diesel engine water pump. Kita juga melayani pengadaan spare part nih Pak Notri. Untuk unit sendiri Pak Notri itu kita ready Pak Notri. Di kantor kita, di workshop kita, di Cengkareng dan workshop kita di Pogular nih Pak Notri.
Jadi customer juga nggak perlu khawatir
dengan spare part kita nih Pak Notri.
Iya, kita juga punya teknisi sendiri ya Bang ya. Ada divisi sendiri untuk after sales-nya juga seperti itu. Dan ini salah satu contoh maintenance unit di perusahaan kita Pak Unity. Salah satu divisi after sales kita yang melayani servis meliputi maintenance unit, terus dikerjakan oleh teknisi kita yang sudah bersertifikasi pada di bidangnya Pak Notri. Dan kemarin ini ya baru 3 teknisi kita Pak Notri sudah training di China, salah satu pabrik DCC. Di Dongfeng Cummins, di pabrik Dongfeng Cummins Bang. Dan ini salah satu keunggulan kita juga nih Pak Notri, seperti pengetesan unit dan quality control. Sebelum unit dikasih ke customer atau kita kirim ke customer, kita biasa akan melakukan pengetesan terlebih dahulu Pak Notri, dan quality control terlebih dahulu. Untuk genset tuh biasanya kita gimana tuh Pak Notri ya? Untuk biasanya pengetesannya kita tes load bank sih. Kita punya alat sendiri.
Dan kalau untuk engine sendiri, engine diesel water pump sendiri sih biasanya kita tes running ya. RPM juga nih Pak Notri. Sampai 3.000 RPM memang ya. Betul Pak Notri. Emang yang biasa buat pompa hidran lah ya. Iya Pak Notri. Jadi bukan engine genset dirubah-rubah ya Bang ya, tapi emang khusus untuk fire pump. Nah ini delivery unit Pak Notri.
Dokumentasi
untuk
kita
Jabotabek sih kita free Pak Notri. Dan kita juga melayani pengiriman ke seluruh wilayah Indonesia nih Pak Notri. Untuk biasa kalau untuk pengiriman di luar Jabotabek itu gimana tuh Pak Notri? Ya biasanya sih kalau kirim kita bisa ya. Bisa. Pastinya udah kita kalkulasi sih dalam nilai penjualan ya Bang ya. Siap Pak Notri. Cuma mungkin ya sedikit informasi Pak Notri. Notisnya ya kalau teknisi kita diberangkatkan keluar ya akomodasi dan transportasi ditanggung pembeli ya. Tanggung pembeli dan kalau untuk jasa sendiri sih kita free ya Pak Notri ya. Iya, untuk jasanya free.
Nah kalau ini
Mungkin ini nanti Pak Notri akan sedikit cerita beberapa proyek yang dihandle oleh Pak Notri untuk seperti rumah sakit
Iya, Bang.
dan lain-lain, bisa dijelaskan Pak Notri?
iya bang, kayak di sini nih pengalaman kita ya untuk supply di rumah sakit UPT Vertikal Makassar ya bang ya.
Iya, oke.
Ini sih prosesnya lagi masih berlangsung ini. Kita di sini dapat genset pengadaan unitnya juga, instalasinya juga. Saat ini masih berlangsung. Mungkin dalam waktu dekat akan tes commissioning ya.
Iya.
Karena per tanggal hari ini 28 Agustus ya. Ini dekat lagi sih mau ada peresmian oleh presiden langsung gitu. Jadi ini lumayan nih di lapangan lagi rame juga nih.
Oke.
Gitu. Lalu ini Bang, contohnya lagi pengadaan kita genset ya,
Iya.
5 unit
Di Lampung ya Pak Notri
di Lampung
ya?
ini.
Oke.
Iya, ini ceritanya Chandra Department Store ini salah satu department store yang terkenal lah di Lampung. Ya, ini kemungkinan akan upgrade jadi mall Bang.
Siap-siap.
Iya, jadinya dia pergantian unit genset yang lama sekaligus penambahan. Itu jadinya 5 sampai kali 650 kVA. Di
Oke,
sini kita juga supply unit juga sama instalasinya.
Sama instalasinya.
Gitu. Iya, jadi kita selain jual unit juga ada instalasi, ada tim after sale sendiri juga seperti itu. Nah, lalu ini pengalaman kita yang sudah selesai di Rumah Sakit Pelni ya,
Iya.
daerah Petamburan situ. Ini kita supply melalui KSO ADI APG.
APG.
Iya bang, jadi BUMN juga ya kita supply sih. Ini kapasitasnya 1.800 kayak 2 unit. Di sini kita juga supply sama
Instalasi ya,
instalasinya
Bang?
juga bang. Iya. Kita ini pakai genset Mitsubishi ya, terutama yang SME nih bang kalau di sini bang.
SME ya?
Iya SME. Itu Mitsubishi cuma ngambil dari pabrikan yang di Tiongkok sana.
Oke.
Gitu bang. Lalu ini juga rumah sakit UPT Vertikal Surabaya nih. Ini jodoh kita lumayan banyak
Kebanyakan
di rumah sakit.
ya
Iya,
Pak Notri ya?
Dalam 2-3 tahun ke belakang nih rumah sakit lumayan kita nih bang. Ini cuma ini yang Surabaya ini kita cuma dapat di supply unitnya aja.
Supply unitnya
Karena
saja.
instalasinya waktu itu nggak dapat lah kita ya.
Oke.
Di sini juga gensetnya gede juga, ini kayak di Rumah Sakit Vertikal Makassar tadi itu 2.500 kVA, prime rating juga tegangannya tegangan menengah bang.
Oke,
Nah,
siap,
makanya kemarin untuk proyek yang Surabaya ini sama Makassar kita FAT-nya di pabrik sana
Di
China.
China langsung ya, Pak Notri,
Iya,
ke
di daerah
customer ya?
Wuxi betul. Karena alatnya nggak ada kok di sini.
Jadi
Langsung di
intinya
pabrik, Bang.
customer bisa langsung FAT ke prinsipal kita di sana ya Pak
Betul
Notri?
bang, iya. Jadi kalau misalkan ada yang model remote radiator atau tegangan menengah ya itu kita tesnya di pabrik sana
Oke,
langsung
siap,
di
Bang.
Wuxi itu. Juga ini salah satu pengalaman kita, ini udah selesai juga di Sodetan Ciliwung. Ya yang
Salah
udah-
satu program dari Pemprov DKI ya mungkin ya Pak Notri ini ya?
Iya, Pemprov DKI juga sama PU sih Pak.
PU ya?
Iya, jadinya di sini kita supply itu ada 300 kVA silent, juga ada 2 unit 60 kVA. Seperti itu Bang.
Oke, siap.
Jadi udah selesai proyeknya melalui KSO Wika Jakon. Gitu. Di sini lumayan juga waktu itu agak apa ya, sempet ini juga karena harus TKDN, seperti
TKDN
itu.
segala
Iya,
macam.
sedangkan kita kan full
Kalau
import.
ada plus minusnya lah Pak Notri
Iya,
ya?
seperti itu Pak. Lalu
Mungkin ada sedikit pertanyaan nih Pak Notri.
Ya.
Kalau saya lihat ini kan kebanyakan proyek-proyek besar nih Pak Notri
Iya.
dengan kapasitas besar gensetnya Pak Notri.
iya.
Kita bisa nggak nih Pak Notri dari Gamatek sendiri untuk supply di ruko, di perumahan,
bisa.
atau di tambang?
Bisa pasti. Kita untuk proyek manapun bisa ya, terutama yang menggunakan tegangan 3 fase itu ya.
Iya.
Jadinya kita bisa supply seperti ya rumah sakit, gedung, pabrik, bank, ruko, kita bisa supply semua
Oke,
di
siap,
situ.
Dan ini ada beberapa proyek kita, proyek-proyek pemeliharaan kita nih.
Ya.
Pertama pemeliharaan genset di Badan Cyber di Sandi Negara. Terus juga ada pemeliharaan troubleshooting nih Pak Notri di
Iya.
Rumah Sakit Yarsi, Jakarta Timur.
Iya.
Dan ini salah satu tes commissioning juga nih di kampus malam itu Angel Desain Water Pump kita nih Pak Notri.
Oke, jadi ini dilakukan oleh tim after sales kita
After sales
ya.
kita sendiri nih, Pak
dipimpin
Notri.
oleh Pak Stefan
Stefan,
Nugroho ya. Nah ini orang-orang kita, teknisi kita yang sudah bersertifikasi
Oke,
juga ya.
iya.
Kemarin apalagi sertifikasi yang terbaru yang kemarin dikirim ke China, ke Dongfeng
Dongfeng,
Kamin.
Kamin Cina. Ya.
Iya, itu kurang lebih di akhir bulan Juli ya kemarin berangkat
Iya,
ya. Kurang lebih latihan full seminggu itu di sana.
Dan ini ada beberapa klien kita nih, Pak Notri,
Oh, iya,
dari perusahaan kontraktor BUMN, terus seperti ADI, HK, APG, ada PP Urban dan juga PP Persero nih Pak Notri.
Oh iya.
Terus juga ada beberapa customer kita di pemain pompa nih Pak Notri, seperti Roda Rumah dan Willow nih Pak Notri.
Udah banyak ya Bang.
Udah banyak ya.
Order
Jadi,
banyak ya Bang. Setahun bisa berapa Bang?
Alhamdulillah nih Pak Notri.
Iya. 50 ada ya kali ya, 50 unit
50
ya.
lebih lah,
Lebih
Pak Notri,
ada
ya.
ya. Alhamdulillah Bang. Kita juga punya klien tuh di Ararasa ya, itu mall swasta ya.
Mall swasta,
Ini di satu-satunya nih yang baru kita supply genset besar yang memang genset Tiongkok asli, merek SDSC, 1000 kVA di situ nih Bang. Itu kalau yang lainnya Lavenue itu pakai Mitsubishi, iya 1500 kVA kayak 3 unit, Wika juga campur ya, kita Wika juga ada di tol Kunciran Bandara itu kita yang supply ada 13 unit, lalu APG kita juga kemarin di yang rumah sakit kan, rumah sakit Pelni.
Jadi beberapa proyek ini Gamatech sendiri support Pak Notri ya.
Iya.
Untuk kebanyakan proyek-proyek pemerintahan ya Pak Notri.
Pemerintahan, BUMN, pemerintah, swasta kita siap supply.
support Pak Notri ya.
Itu. Kita juga stokis Bang. Jadi untuk gensetnya kita juga ready ya dari terutama di 500 kVA ke bawah ya. Seperti itu. Begitupun juga engine water pump juga Abang stok juga kan?
Stok juga kita ready di gudang kita, di workshop kita di Poglar nih Pak Notri. Mungkin nanti rekan-rekan pameran bisa datang ke kantor kita atau mau ke workshop kita untuk lihat unit kita nih Pak Notri yang ready stok itu.
Boleh. Dengan senang hati ya kita akan nemenin, lihat customer kebutuhannya apa, kita
Bang.
bisa ini Bang.
Nah ini bagi teman-teman rekan-rekan sekalian bisa datang ke booth kita nih Pak Notri.
Iya.
Yang ada di berapa tuh Pak Notri?
Di booth A3 nomor 3102.
Iya, nanti kita bisa sharing sambil ngopi-ngopi, sambil makan es krim ya Pak Notri.
Betul. Lumayan lah kita 4 hari ada di sini. Lumayan lama ya, dari mulai jam 10 ya sampai jam 5 seperti itu.
Sampai di hari Sabtu ya Pak Notri ya.
Sabtu besok tanggal 31. Iya. Tanggalnya gajian Bang.
Tanggal gajian.
Gitu kan.
Nah ini terima kasih ya Pak Notri ya
Iya.
atas waktunya.
Sama-sama Bang.
Dan
Terima
ini
kasih.
alamat kantor kita ya Pak Notri ya.
Iya.
Kita ada di
Cengkareng.
Outer Ring Road, Sedayu Square, Blok M nomor 65, Cengkareng, Jakarta Barat Pak Notri ya.
Iya.
Untuk gudang kita sendiri kita ada di mana Pak Notri?
Di Kapuk Poglar nomor 47 daerah Kapuk Cengkareng.
Oke.
Silakan Bapak Ibu misalkan nanti ada kebutuhan mau ngobrol-ngobrol boleh, mau lihat unit juga boleh, mau lihat ke gudang kita percaya atau enggak, kita stok atau enggak gitu kan Bang.
Siap Pak Notri ya.
Gitu Bang. Jadi sekian ya Bang ya.
Sekian
gitu ya.
podcast kita hari ini Pak Notri.
Iya.
Kurang lebihnya kita mohon maaf Pak Notri ya.
Iya sama-sama, kita juga seperti itu.
Oke.
Terima kasih.
Selamat siang, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya Aidil Zarkasi, saya adalah konsultan untuk Live Throw di Indonesia. Pada kesempatan Indonesia Water 2024 ini kami Live Straw ikut berpartisipasi dalam pameran diadakan, dan bersama saya ada Saurabh Chabra. Beliau adalah Head of Institution Sales di Live Straw untuk Asia dan juga untuk di Afrika. Untuk mempersingkat waktu, Saurabh, could you introduce yourself and also the company, please?
Yes, definitely. My name is Saurabh Chabra, and I head sales for LifeStraw across the Global South. We have two business verticals. One is directed to consumer markets that we work in North America and Europe. And then we work with public health programs around the Global South. So I head sales and project management and program deliveries in Asia, Africa, Latin America.
Okay, interesting, Saurabh. We have some question for you, especially for the LifeStraw in institution sales. First, we want to know the concept of LifeStraw. What is LifeStraw, and how LifeStraw can help people?
So at LifeStraw, we believe that everyone deserves access, equitable access to safe water. So what happens in big programs is that in urban areas you have plenty of centralized water treatment systems, but in rural areas, developing a centralized water treatment system is very challenging. It's very cost intensive, and population density is much lower in rural areas. So globally, it's accepted that point of use treatment systems or household water treatment systems for rural areas is much better as a complementary system to centralized water treatment system. So LifeStraw has come out with, over the last 2 decades, come out with rechargeable ultrafiltration membrane products in many different designs. Designs meant for individual use, designs meant for home, small community and large community. So we have all designs based on the rechargeable ultrafiltration technology that is non-electric, that is of course backwashable, can take any kind of bad water except seawater. It can take any kind of bad water, purify it, and also is community owned, maintained and used. So you don't need to depend on external service, external engineering help. The community, we do training. Once the community is trained, they can take care of the product. And each product is designed to last for at least 3 to 5 years.
Very nice. Saurabh, what kind of situation that we can use LifeStraw, like a development, emergency, or like a CSR project, whatever? Could you explain a little bit, please?
Yes. So I'll start with emergencies because we are in Indonesia and this is the land of many islands, and there's a lot of emergency capacity building that needs to be done as the environment, climate change is more rampant. So we, in the last 10 years, all of the emergencies, or flood situations or earthquakes or even complex emergencies like the war in Gaza or Ukraine, our products have been deployed to provide safe access to millions of people in emergencies. Then in terms of development programs, we've done maternal child health programs, education programs with the government, where we support them in providing technology for their schools or maternal child health centers. And we have also come out with a product that is the only product today in the world that is a small, in terms of size, but provides high capacity water. So it's the most compact high capacity purifier, can be used for factories, offices, restaurants, hotels, hospitals, anywhere, even in the private sector.
Okay. For me it's very interesting. So we want to know what is a flagship product that you have right now and you want to introduce to us? What kind of the most important product that you have right now?
So in terms of the most important product, I would say the original LifeStraw to the company is one of the most important products because the original version of this straw was one of the first products that were deployed to eradicate or control the guinea worm disease in Africa, which had a few million cases 10 years ago, and now has come down to few tens of cases. This has been one of the major partners. Along with the Carter Center, we have contributed and deployed millions of these units in Africa. The second most is the latest product that we have developed, which is the MAX. Now, the MAX is the most compact high-capacity purifier in the world. It does not need electricity, but can provide water to an entire village of 2,000. It can provide 2,000 liters of water per day to an entire village of 500 people. And it's a 10-kilogram product, very easy to use, and has a life of 10 years. You just need to replace cartridges after every 150,000 liters of filtration. So that's our flagship product. It has versatility both in private sector and public sector, both.
Thank you. That's very interesting. My next question is, what your purpose to join this exhibition? What your plan to Indonesia?
A couple of things. So this is one of the only products that is certified by World Health Organization, NSF, US EPA, US FDA. All of our products have hundreds of global certifications and evidence from ground that we have built over 2 decades. What we want to do in Indonesia is replicate what we are doing in Vietnam, in Philippines, in India. We are providing the alternative to an existing technology of water purification. We are providing a better environment-friendly green alternative that can be used, that has a high uptake and can be used for a long time. Providing a water filter to a rural area is one thing, but having the rural community to use the product for a long period of time is another thing. So we want to ensure that more people have access to safe drinking water in Indonesia using LifeStraw. We have reached out to about 2 million people in the last 3 years in the global south, and we feel that Indonesia, more than 100 million people have no access to safe water here. The child mortality rate is 3.2%. So there are many factors in Indonesia that will ensure that LifeStraw wants to come here, find good business partners, work with the government, work with nonprofits, and introduce the product in the country.
Okay, do you looking for the business partner in Indonesia?
Definitely. That's why we are here in this conference. This is our first time in Water Indonesia, and we would hope to definitely, and we've already had good meetings over the next few days. Hopefully we'll meet the right people. We finding the right match is what it takes for a successful business, and we want to do that here.
Okay, last question.
Yes.
If people interesting with the LifeStraw, how people can find you?
Okay. So you can reach out to lifestraw.com and send your inquiry. You can reach out to us. We are at 8506 here in the booth. We have all of the products here. And Idle is our man consultant here in Indonesia. And, all of our details will be shared. They're there on our website, and our details can be taken from us from our booth as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Saurabh. This is a good opportunity and also very useful information for
just the one thing I wanted to talk about is that the we got the LifeStraw Max, the flagship product, received the Time Magazine Invention of the Year award last year. And we have been receiving many awards of the product. We just hope that it also finds the right beneficiaries, because that product was made after many years of research and partnerships with nonprofits and governments, and that's how we created the product. So it's a product of the people, for the people.
Okay, thank you so much, Saurabh.
Thank you, Idol.
Oke, terima kasih Saurabh atas informasi dan waktu yang diberikan. Jadi LifeStraw merupakan produk yang banyak digunakan untuk kepentingan bencana dan juga untuk development project seperti misalnya CSR untuk di sekolah dan lain-lain. Dan LifeStraw juga membuka kesempatan untuk bekerja sama dengan perusahaan-perusahaan lokal, terutama untuk institusi dan juga untuk B2B. Informasi lebih lanjut nanti bisa ditemukan di website yang disampaikan Saurabh tadi, lifestraw.com. Kami pikir demikian saja. Terima kasih atas waktunya. Selamat siang. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.